And all of a sudden, it was a lot more difficult to function. It felt like I was kind of wading through murky water. I don't know if that's a very articulate way of describing it either, but
it might be easier to picture bipolar as something that affects the central mood computer, so to speak, of the brain. Kind of like a computer virus that wreaks havoc with our brain's code and not being able to do very much about it. So the hippocampus is actually the part of our brain that's been linked to bipolar disorder, and it's basically responsible for mood and memory. So what happens when this part of our body's central computer gets a computer virus, so to speak?
It just all of a sudden felt like there was a blanket that lowered between myself and the world. And for the rest of the day, it's been difficult.
I know that you've said not to worry, but I said that before, and I know it can also mean please worry sometimes. And even if it doesn't mean that, I care too much about you to not worry anyway.
I'm worried that this is the start of a depressive episode because I was just cleaning around the house today, and all of a sudden I felt this like switch in my brain chemistry. Like I don't know how else to describe it because nothing really happened. Just something kind of flipped in my brain, and all of a sudden I just felt this deep heaviness in my chest, and I was kind of flooded with sad feelings, but I'm not sure that really articulates what it felt like, but just a really big heaviness. And again, like I said, nothing really happened to be sad about or to feel heavy about, other than, I suppose, everything that's going on in the world right now.
And I was a little bit surprised that today, thoughts around suicide came up and thoughts of dying came up. And, I'm not suicidal. I'm not, seriously considering ending my life, but
I didn't go like, oh, it's so sad. The immediate reaction, because I was suffering from depression, was I even envy her death because she could choose that. And that made me really sad because the normal Sarah, the Sarah that is loved by so many people and that knows what is right and what is wrong, would usually not think that. But because I'm suffering from that,
I've been ruminating today since this flip happened about, difficult periods in my life and about losses that I've endured in my life. And
if they're going to be around poking people with their proximity, they better have a good reason. And what spills out will probably be intricate because you've been thinking about this your whole life.
I'm not trying to wallow in that. It's just that's kind of the mentality that my brain is kind of stuck in right now, is this depressed mentality.
Bipolar is an illness, not a virus. But it takes over our brains in a really similar way, like complete control. And it can cause us to experience a slew of emotions that are more intense than anyone can possibly imagine. And this is because it's literally like written into the code or the programming of our brains. The computer just does what it's told and reacts in primitive ways that have been ingrained in us since the beginning of time. Things like fear, sadness, anger, happiness, euphoria, sleep patterns, and even sexual or eating desires or lack thereof.
And, I know that the knee-jerk reaction to that is to be like, well, work on thinking about more positive things, or work on, not falling into this like pit of despair and self-pity and self-loathing and yada, yada, yada. But it's not that easy. And I think that's something that people who don't experience depression don't quite understand, is that
for those of you out there that are lucky enough to experience emotions in a standard way, it can be really hard to wrap your brain around how intense and how real these emotions get when a bipolar Trojan computer virus just takes us over.
It's something to do with your brain chemistry that goes beyond just being stuck in negative thinking. And it's really like you almost can't access happy thoughts. Or it's not that you can't access happy thoughts, it's more that you can't access feeling any which way about those happy thoughts. And so, today has been hard. And I hope that knowing that other people are having thoughts like that makes it a little bit less scary. I'm going to be reaching out to my therapist, letting them know about this. And again, hopefully it's just an off day. And hopefully it's not the start of a longer period of depression, because I think that's when the danger of those suicidal thoughts comes into play, where they are very prolonged and it gets to a point where that's kind of all you can remember. And all you can think about is, this kind of desire to end things. And so, I don't want to focus this video on that. That kind of went off on a bit of a tangent, but I just kind of want to bring to light that those thoughts did come up for me, So if they come up for you too, you're not alone. And I am sending hope that you will get through it, just like I'm hoping that I will get. if you're experiencing something like that, you're not alone. I think it is a little bit, I mean, it's not normal because depression isn't really normal per se, but it's okay if you're having thoughts like that. It's not okay if you're making plans around those thoughts, but give yourself a bit of grace if you're having thoughts like that. And I hope that knowing that other people are having thoughts like that makes it a little bit less scary.
I'm so close to paradise, but now the only thing I'm close to is defeat. These shards are a metaphor for my soul. Won't stop the self-pity cause I'm on a roll. Yes, Josh completes me, but how can that be when there's no me left to complete? You ruined everything, you stupid bitch. Sing with me. Yes, I deserve this. You're just a lying little bitch who ruins things and wants the world to burn. Bitch, you're a stupid bitch and lose some weight.